So next up on this series of advent calendar prep videos is the equipment you do need and the equipment you don't need for sowing seeds for the advent calendar. The reason I wanted to film this video is because I'm going to take it right back to basics, and it also really frustrates me that lots of other businesses and brands try and persuade you to buy loads and loads and loads of stuff when actually you need a very few things. Obviously there's lots of stuff that you can add on, and I will go through some bits at the end if you want to add these onto your kind of repertoire of equipment, but quite simply you need 5 things to start sowing these advent calendar seeds. First of all, you need pots and trays. Now you can use you can go out and buy them, but my best recommendation is to go and find someone who loves gardening and ask them if they have any spares. I tend to use all pots and trays that I have bought other plants in from the garden centre. I keep them, wash them down with just some fairy liquid, and then reuse them ongoing. So you won't see me really buying any particular pots at all for these. These are all ones that I've begged, borrowed and stealed from grandparents and different people. The other thing you can do is use your kitchen recyclable stuff to make pots. So you can use milk bottles, just chop the top off. The main thing is that they've got drainage holes. If they don't have drainage holes, the water will sit, and that is a big no-no. So if you are creating your own from poppadom packaging I've used before, milk bottles, great punnets are brilliant. Just make sure they're really good drainage holes in the bottom. So that's number one. You need pots and trays, and roughly you need 1 or 2 trays for example, for each of the seeds that we're going to sow indoors. So about 20 trays would be way more than you need, and you'll be able to do everything that you need from those. Or if not, sort of if you're sowing like 4 to 6 small pots per seed variety. The second one is compost. Now there's so much I could talk about here. You can choose to go for peat-free if you wish. There's lots and lots of noise about this. I haven't quite found a brand of kind of potting compost that I kind of can recommend specifically to you yet. I'm still trialing a few out, but if you can go for peat-free, it is better for the environment. So yeah, some compost you'll need. Head to your garden centre. If you're not sure, ask for the garden centre's recommendation. They'll be able to give you a good one of the brands that they have available. Number 3 is labels. Totally underestimated, but totally needed. We're going to be sowing up to kind of 12 indoors, and then we'll be direct sowing a lot outdoors. So you need at least 12 labels, 12 to 13 labels, and extras if you're going to sow into more than one tray. I sell wooden labels on my website. You can buy plastic ones, but you can also just again cut up a milk carton in strips and write on with a Sharpie and plonk that in. You don't need to overcomplicate it. It doesn't need to be super expensive, but you will want to label your things. And because later in the season you'll think, oh, I don't need to, at the start you'll think, oh, I don't need to label them, but then later on you really will not know what's what. So make sure you label as you go. The next one is point number 4 of things you'll need is something to water them with. So if you're watering and keeping things outside in a greenhouse, you might be able to use a hose and just splash around. But if you're watering on a windowsill, then you might want to buy some trays so that the water doesn't go onto your wooden windowsills, or you might want to buy a mister or just a small watering can. But you can also, again, milk bottles are going to be good. I'll do a video on this actually. A milk bottle, and put holes in the green or blue, whatever colour lid you have, and you can pour it, screw it back on and pour it, and that will act like a little mini, quite direct watering can, I guess. So you just need something. Just think about how you're going to water your seeds and how to protect them. One of the things that my mum does is she just puts loads of newspaper underneath them, so she doesn't buy trays. That's absolutely fine as well. So stock up on your old newspapers if you can. And then the last one is we need to grow them undercover, and you'll hear me talking about undercover quite a lot with these varieties, because undercover means so many different things. It can mean if you've got a giant greenhouse and you're raring to go, then obviously great, sow them under there. I've got a mini greenhouse, which is a nice wooden one, and I've also got a plastic zippy greenhouse, just so I can show you how to use both of those. They are absolutely perfect fine. If you have the money, then get a wooden one because they're so much more secure. But the plastic ones, I think I bought mine for £25 from Wilko, so they're really good value and definitely worth getting because we're going to have quite a lot of seeds. However, if you don't want to do that and you want to save on pennies, then windowsills are perfectly fine, but they need to be in a really light and sunny spot, and they need to be nice and cool. So you don't want to be heating the room to really high temperatures, because if not, the seedlings will get all excited, get all warm, think it's summer, and go up towards the light, and they'll get leggy and flop, and they won't be as good. So if you are going to sow them indoors, try and sow them a little bit later, and also just give them the nice sunnier spot. So a lot of people put them in conservatories in the winter, winter. Over the winter months, I get lots and lots of light in there and it's not too hot. So that would be my recommendation. So they're the 5 things that I would recommend for equipment that you will need. So pots and trays, compost, labels, something to water, and some sort of cover, whether that's a greenhouse, mini greenhouse, zippy, or a windowsill in a cool and light place. And then some things here that are not essential at all, and a bit of a bugbear of mine that people kind of do, and you can use them, there's plenty of use for them. But for what we're doing, if you're a beginner, please don't go out and think you need to buy loads and loads of stuff. You really don't need to. So the first thing is expensive seed sowing compost. Seed sowing compost, because when we sow seeds, you don't need as many nutrients because they're literally just starting. This seed sowing compost has no nutrients in, but it's much finer grade. So you can buy it, but personally, save your pennies, use multi-purpose compost, peat free if you can, and you'll be onto a winner. Fancy cell trays. I see so many people on Instagram buying these huge cell trays. They are brilliant if you know you're going to get into seed sowing year on year, but if this is your first time growing and you're a beginner gardener, just beg, borrow and steal those trays and pots from other things, or make your own. You really don't need fancy cell trays. A huge greenhouse, like I said, you don't need one. Just make sure that you can pay £25 or use your windowsills if you can. But a huge greenhouse is not necessary. The next thing is heat mats and propagators. You don't need either of these to sow seeds and get them started. I won't be using heat mats, I don't own any. And I do have some propagators, but I mainly bought them for the tray so that, that again, it doesn't get wet on my windowsills, but you don't need any propagators. If there is anything that we need to like create a bit of a humid, hot area, we'll put just a sandwich bag around them, tie them up and put a hole in it, and that'll be just as good. So yeah, there's some things that you do need, 5 things you do need, and a few things that you absolutely don't need to go out and rush out and buy before we start seed sowing as well. I hope that helps. If you've got any things that I've missed, or things that you think actually are essential that I might have missed out, or something on my list that you think actually, Lizzie, that's not essential, then just comment below and let me know, and hopefully it'll help some other people. And thanks so much for watching, and as always, if you have any questions at all, then just let me know and send me a message. Thanks so much for watching.